I mentioned in one of my earlier videos how Darkwing Duck was so innovative because this was the first single father we'd seen in a dynamic cartoon. But looking back, I realized that wasn't entirely true. Yes, he was the first single father with an adopted child to become so mainstream and so normal and sort of entertaining, but the single father dynamic has actually been with Disney for decades. I am of course talking about Goofy, originally called Dippy Dog back in the black and white days. Everyone knows by this point about him and his son Max, but there's no wife in the picture. There was back in the early cartoons, and he had an on again, off again girlfriend in the comics named Penny, but nothing was ever made stable. To this day, he is still single and Max is still motherless, and there's really no problem with that. There's never been an issue in between either of them. Goof Troop was a popular series back in the wow, it feels like a really long time ago now, and it was never really brought up how if Goofy felt lonely or if he was struggling on his own. He lived right next to your normal nuclear family with Pete and Peg and all those people with mom, dad, brother, sister. But Goofy himself, he was single and he had no wife, no mom, no anybody, and this was portrayed as perfectly normal, as perfectly fine. Max didn't really try to step his father in any kind of way. Max didn't complain about losing a mom. He didn't complain about only his father. He used to complain that it was Goofy of all people raising him, not that it was only one person raising him. That was never an issue. And this kind of carried over into the very popular movie. Love that movie. So, I thought it was very interesting how against the formula they went, because at this time, when you saw a single father in these kind of big movies or cartoons, you usually have to see like the kids trying to set up their dad with like some hot model or celebrity or the girl next door, but that never happened really. Max was content with his father the way he was, the way their family was, and the issue of the mother was never raised up. And Goofy himself never really seemed to get too lonely or, too upset. He was happy to raise Max on his own. Now, they did try to meddle with this formula in the second Goof Troop movie. And the interesting thing was, again, Max didn't really have much of an impact on this because he was happy his father was finding someone. He never worried about his mother being replaced. He never worried about his family forgetting them because he wanted Goofy to forget him a little bit. And Goofy never really had an issue of, well, will Max like her? Well, will she replace my wife? This was never really brought up. It was a normal, healthy relationship with a man trying to find some company. And all the cliches they usually find weren't there. And I really like that about Goofy. I like that there's never really going to be an established canon character for him to marry, for him to date, for Max to have a mom. On and off in the comics, he's had girlfriends, and even Clarabelle's been with him a few times, but nothing's ever been permanent, and I don't think it ever will be, because I think it's kind of too late in the game, to put it one way. And Max is a mascot character in the my mistake. I get really excited because you know what? I love Goofy and Max so much. They're great characters. They're lots of fun. And it's such an interesting family dynamic they have because you have the Ducks, you have Scrooge and Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and they're all related to Donald. And you see them around the parks and such. But the thing is, a lot of these characters have like these nephews and cousins, but Goofy and Max are father and son, and that's just a very unique bond. Some of you may not know this, but just about everybody has nieces and nephews, at least in the comic book verse. Because, God forbid, the actual characters themselves get married and have children. This wasn't a way for them to interact as parents without being parents. Mickey has nephews, Minnie has nieces, Daisy has nieces, Pete, Ludwig, even Goofy himself has a nephew. Pretty much almost everyone you can think of has nephews and nieces over there. Kind of ridiculous at this point. But, it's Goofy and Max who have a stable relationship of father and child that you really can't find almost anywhere else in the Disney universe. And it's never called into question. It's never made a huge deal. And I love it. I love their relationship. It's shown as normal and healthy. while, being the usual Goofy kind of being silly and Max kind of being stubborn kind of way. They never made that an issue, and if anything else. It carried over to all the cartoons, even has some ads when Max was a teenager. They never went to the plot of Max's mother worries or anything like that. Even the episode where Goofy was trying to be set up for Valentine's Day, or the episode where Goofy tries to ask Clara out on a date, Max was never involved in this because at this point he was his own person with his own life, and he didn't need to interfere with his father's life. Honestly, I think some of the best episodes where Goofy shines are the ones when he shows how good of a father he is. One of my favorite cartoons, I forget if it's in Once Upon a Christmas or Twice Upon a Christmas, but one of those Christmas specials, Max is a little boy, and he's told by Pete that Santa doesn't exist. And Goofy just goes out of his way to show his little boy that Santa does exist, and it's very deep and heartwarming, and it shows just what a great family they have, what a great person Goofy is, and I love him very deeply. I think he's very sensitive and kind, and he may be a little slow, but there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's important to have characters who are like a little less brighter than the main ones, because let's face it, we have lots of people like that. I've never claimed to be intelligent or smart, and I'm glad I have someone to relate to when I feel a little goofy myself. A long time ago, me and my friend, who I won't name in case she doesn't want me to name her, we invented a fan character for Goofy to be his wife and Max's mother. She went through many name changes, went through many physical changes. And even today, I still implement her. Her name is Millicent. I still implement her in fanfics where I want Goofy to have someone special. Because, okay, I admit some Arthur Avatar bias over there, but I want him to be happy. And I love him so much. If in future cartoons he does get a girlfriend, I don't see it being something permanent, but I would still like to see it anyway because I think he deserves love and happiness in his own way. And I'd like to praise Disney for not going with their usual cliches with this father-son dynamic. I still think it's very brave of them. You can still see them in the parks. They each have their own mascots, but they can be apart or together. It doesn't matter because they both work. It's really all kinds of fantastic how far they've come and how far they'll still go together without a mother figure. And I still think it shows so much great family values. Probably rambling on at this point. So I'll try to wrap it up. Love Goofy, love Max, love their dynamic, love everything they've ever been in, love everything they will ever be in, and I look forward to seeing what adventures they'll have next.